Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the April 18th edition of the Courtside with Coach Crist show. I'm Greg Crist. That's Dave Gorby. We're coming to you live tonight from McGuffin's Mystery Hole out on Gatewood Road here at the studio. Gorb, good to see you again. Weather's nice. I'm surprised you didn't take the day off to go golfing. Did that early, didn't you?
It is a busy time.
Yes.
32 flex days.
32 flex
So
days.
I'm doing track and we're doing spring football.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm not. Got a good show tonight. We got former Mountaineer Rob Summers, who's moving up through the coaching ranks. Got him on tonight. We'll be, again, trying to do the video call like we did last week. Worked out pretty well, so we're going to try that again tonight. But as we always do at the beginning of our show, we like to go out to our one eye in the sky, our Chopper 1 NRN weather and traffic update from Mr. Muggy McLeod, and, of course, the beloved Misty Rains. Muggy, are you there?
Yes, sir, Coach. How are you this evening?
Oh, good.
Well, as you said, this is Muggy McLeod and your NRN Chopper 1, one eye in the sky, traffic and weather report with my lovely sidekick, Misty Rains, coming to you live and in charge from over top of the Highlands in Wheeling, West Virginia.
Nice.
We are hovering around, just seeing what's going on here in the big city
Well,
of the Highlands.
Before you go any further, tell Misty Rains hello, Misty.
I believe the cat's got her tongue.
She probably gave me sign language. She probably gave me some sign language. Okay.
Oh, she's just happy as a clam.
Yes, sir. Good deal.
Yes, sir. Yes, but we dropped in on Lane Bryant, and of course they were closed, so she's not a real happy camper anyway. And now we're flying over Cabela's, and where you can get a regular priced Nike pullover for twice as what it would cost you at JCPenney's.
Yep.
However, JCPenney's is closed at 7:30, so you can't get in there either.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, so Cabela's got it figured out. They stay open. They charge higher prices.
Yes, sir. That's right. And, it's kind of a badge of honor. See, I'll use the term redneck, but it seems to be a badge of honor, especially in the southern part of the state where you can carry around a Cabela's bag or say, hey, I bought this shirt at Cabela's and paid twice as much for it.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. But while I was there, I got to look at deer heads and fish in a big old fish tank. So I guess that's the price you pay for entertainment.
That's right.
So where's the helicopter parking at Cabela's?
Well, pretty much anywhere we want, because there's no one here. Everything's closed, Mr. Gordon.
The Highlands going to become the Lowlands if they don't get that fixed.
Hey, wow.
Well, the only thing high here is us and the prices.
All right.
But anyway, we are now flying over the El Paso Mexican Grill. And speaking of prices, a Corona in the Mexican Grill is more expensive than actually flying to Mexico and buying one down there. So, Viva la Mexico.
Again, the price you pay for convenience.
Yes, sir. And the food's only so-so. But anyway, but there is a Texas Roadhouse, and we always like the free peanuts and rolls, whether we buy anything or not.
That's right.
Yeah, it's the only place you can fill up here and drink water, peanuts, and rolls, and not cost you a dime.
All right. Awesome.
Anyway, yes, sir, Coach. So, I just wanted to mention real quickly, the coaching carousel that seems to be going on around the southern part, or all over the place anyway, that we're aware of. Coach Calhoun leaving Youngstown, Coach Faulkner leaving Pikeville, Coach Rector leaving Hoover, going to Pikeville, then somewhere else maybe. Coach D.O. that you've had on your show. All these former guests seem to be leaving and going somewhere else. Former guests. So, D.O. is going to Youngstown, it sounds like, and now the high school coach at Logan's leaving, and it's just all kinds of just happy campers. So sometimes it's not always best to get what you wish for. So
exactly.
It seems like they wish for a lot of unhappiness. But I don't know.
Maybe.
Yes,
Busy time of the year for that, and it'll all shake out.
It'll all come out in the end, as they say.
Everybody will have a coach by this time next year.
At least that's what Snoop Dogg says when he's left in the house all weekend.
Yeah,
It'll all
exactly.
come out in the end.
Yep, that's right. And it did.
Misty, would you like to make a comment about Snoop Dogg's incident? No? No. Okay.
No comment.
All right, Coach, I'll try it again with no luck. All right.
That
So,
Misty's shy, isn't she? Man, I love she's shy.
I think her microphone's just out, Coach.
Quiet
Here,
and
let me
shy.
check. Here, let me check. Testes. No, it seems to be working. She's just shy. All right.
I got it.
Well, you know. Anyway, Coach, traffic up here is pretty good right now. We haven't gotten into that construction season yet in West Virginia, but it's on the way. And there'll be traffic delays up here of mass proportion. And so anyway, and gas prices have tumbled once again after an overnight increase. They've tumbled 6 cents after a 50-cent increase overnight. So,
Yeah,
we're all excited about the summer months.
Yeah, we've discussed that a lot. It goes up 25 cents overnight. It goes down 3 cents. So
Yes, sir.
Pretty even.
never goes down as quick as it goes up.
Never seems to work in the consumer's advantage.
Right.
But anyway, I can tell you now, Coach, though it is warm today, on to the weather brought to you by, who am I going to bring it by tonight? Let's bring it to you by El Paso Mexican Grill, where my pride and my wallet will never return. You buy anything there and you get extra 3% credit card charge just for good measures.
Huh. Good deal.
Yeah, so you mentioned this ad, and they may tack on another 3% just for good measures.
Yep. Good deal.
Anyway, but we are experiencing a beautiful day today. It's not as crappy as it has been, but I believe it will get crappier as the weekend progresses. Some rain moving in. But as for me and Misty Rains, we are currently hovering over the Cold Stone Creamery parking lot where we plan to see if we can hover through the drive-through and pick us up some ice cream. And to save money on top of that, Upside app gives you 5% back.
Ooh, good deal there. Can't beat that.
Yes, sir.
So that makes it up on the El Paso there.
Yeah.
Can't beat it with a drumstick.
There you go. Yeah, I got it.
Wrong ice cream restaurant.
Yeah.
Anyway, Coach. All right, Coach. This has been Muggy McLeod and my ever so boisterous, lovely sidekick, Misty Rains, with your NRN Chopper 1 eye in the sky, traffic and weather report.
All right, Muggy. Over and out, buddy. You and Misty, be safe out there.
Say bye, Misty. Bye, Misty.
All right. Bye-bye, Misty and Muggy. Talk to you next week. Over and out. All right, Muggy McLeod up there around the Highlands. And I spent a little time up there, and yeah, he's right. And, of course, that's about any restaurant now you go to. My gosh, you could you can go to a steakhouse for what you can go to McDonald's for.
Oh, I know.
You can go to the lobster house for what you can go to the steakhouse for. And you can go to the grocery store a lot better than you can go to any of them, and it's expensive.
Yep, right.
But it's awful. But you know, that should have been one of my hell nolls. I'm going to save that for
There
another.
you go. There you go.
I'll take out one of my hell nolls tonight, and well, I might just throw them all in there. Yeah, one of my hell nolls is going to a restaurant and paying exorbitantly high prices for the food, and then you get a drink. If you get a diet drink or tea or whatever, it's like $4, and it costs you, 40 cents to make that drink, and they got to make all that profit on them drinks, and they're jacking it up. And then they add these fees. You got this fee and that fee and taxes, and I mean, you go in and you look at a meal and it's $20. Me and you both get a $20 meal. We end up paying $50 or $60 because of the drink cost and fees and taxes. It's awful. And
I haven't had a pop since before basketball.
well, really. Good for you.
Yeah.
I need to go do that.
It's tough.
Of course, I most usually drink water in the restaurants anyway.
I got water.
Yeah. I drink a lot of water, so I drink water most of the time in there anyway. But not.
But yeah,
because
you're
of the
right.
cost.
I mean, you're right on that drink. I mean, shoot.
Gee whiz, it's awful. And I don't drink water in the restaurant because of that. That's just typically what I drink in there. But it's awful.
Yeah.
And it's just like going to McDonald's. We end up running through fast food a lot because of our work schedules, but. You can't afford that either. That's outrageous.
Man,
Not McDonald's only, but Wendy's, all of them.
they're all.
And I did see the other day the CEO there of McDonald's said they were going to have to take a look at their pricing, and because the average person wasn't buying McDonald's anymore because they can't afford it. And they said the people that are buying from McDonald's, are using the app only. Is the only way they'll go there and shop. And I was like, well, what do they expect? When they keep jacking the price.
I mean, if they would bring back like the dollar, like it doesn't even have to be the dollar menu. If they would just bring back a $2 menu.
Yeah, and just
like.
And the thing that gripes me is everybody feels, well, that's why you can't pay people, hire $15 an hour, whatever. Well, if you look at what the CEO made.
Right.
Okay. Why not cut a few million out of that and keep your prices down so people can afford it instead of the top man making millions and millions of dollars, just like Exxon, Shell, those three companies I think made $85 billion in profit last year. Are you kidding me? Come on. Everybody talks about capitalism, how great it is. Well, that's what's wrong with it. When you have greed, capitalism don't work very well. Anyway, that'd be one of my hell no's. We'll get on that on another day. That's a little political, so we don't want to get that riled up. But we'll get on that. My hell yells, Gord. I got one good hell yell. WVU baseball.
Right.
Ooh, man. They're kicking it right now.
Yeah, other than, man, that blunder they had last midweek.
Yeah.
They've been rolling pretty good. Sweeping UCF, I mean, that's pretty good. And then doing what they did the other night to that one team up in the north.
Yep.
That's one of our guests tonight, right?
We're going to try. We're going to try to get a whole 3DP. And
get his take on the ball game.
Get his take on the pit with WVU baseball.
I mean, it's only fair. I mean, he has to have his equal time.
Yep. And WVU are now sitting in the number one spot in the Big 12 and playing good baseball right now.
Yeah, played Texas Tech this weekend.
Yep. Big. That's a big series, and it's down there. And
they beat Arkansas the other night. So
yep, big series for WVU, but they're playing pretty good right now, so that's fun. Other hell yeah was the Masters, and I know you enjoyed that.
You just took mine. I'll tell you that. That's awful.
We can talk about Masters was good, entertaining, and Scheffler is pretty good.
Yeah, this Masters was a little bit different. They had the wind played a big factor. In the whole thing. It wasn't cold down there, but the wind was so difficult to deal with.
Yeah. Which is kind of odd for down there.
And there was only a handful of guys that finished under par. You didn't have those eagles that you would have on Sunday. The only time somebody really did their thing, Scheffler on the back nine on Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean his iron play was just like, oh, my gosh.
It's funny. They were talking about Scheffler and winning 3 out of the last 4 tournaments and so many out of the last 8. And a lot of people were comparing him, saying, could be next Tiger Woods, blah, blah, blah. My nephew, who's a golfer at U-Pike, was sitting there, me and him were looking, and he was pulling up some facts about it. It was amazing. And I told him right there, I said, makes you realize how good Tiger Woods was, because it was like they were talking about average score over a period of time, how many weeks spent at number 1.
Yeah.
And Scheffler been there like 86 weeks, and Tiger he'd have to be there another 260 weeks in a row before he would meet Tiger.
that run was
the number
unbelievable.
Of
how about Tiger finally finished the tournament?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, he needs to get in shape and he'll be all right. Yeah. Played good for a while. He just gets tired, I think.
Well, I mean, it's just where he's had he's dealt with a lot of things, and even when he gets back to playing, he doesn't finish a tournament.
Right. Yeah.
And this was his first finished tournament, and it's obviously before the wreck.
Having to play those 25 holes there, or 23, whatever it was, in the first day, that pretty much wiped him out, I think. But until he got wore down. Yeah, he'll get rounded back into shape eventually. But we were reading those stats, and I mean the number of weeks at number 1. The average score, the number of majors won, the number of tournaments won. Scheffler will have to be around a long time. It just shows you how good he was.
Yeah, and man, it was just a good week. Man, it was, obviously we've talked about on this show, about the only tournaments you really watch is the regular tournaments is what they call the signature tournaments, and that's because they narrow it down. They only got like 75 guys. In it. Like this week's a signature tournament. It has all the top guys in it. Yeah. Last week you had those live guys in the tournament, and I mean, it's so much better when the field's like that.
Yeah, when they're all good. Yeah, they're all good. So you get to see a lot of good play. Even the guys who don't win, your average guy, your average scores are still really good players, and they
like some of those tournaments. Like I did not know.
You don't even know who they are.
I don't know who those guys are.
I mean,
not to say they're not good,
yeah,
but
they're good golfers. You just don't know who they are. Yeah, yeah. I watch it about every weekend, and some weekends I'll turn on and be watching see who's on the leaderboard, and I'm like, I look at the first 10 names, and there's not one single name.
It's not like the game itself has gone down. It's gotten better, but
Yep.
the product isn't as good.
Right. Yep. And like I said, those guys are pretty good, but they're not. They're not the guys. Our hell no's. My first hell no, I run across this in the middle of the week this week and just took a little note of it. And I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. And then I read on, and I thought, well, that'd be a good hell no. My hell no doesn't have anything to do with sports. It has to do with money. I read this story about, and I forget the group name who did the research and all that, but they estimate that Americans throw away $68 million in coins every year. And what me neither. And
I got a cup on my
my
table. That's why
a lot of the coins are at people's homes sitting in a jar, and they said people don't use them because everybody uses debit cards, and and coins aren't used heavily. And they said that it was a place that did some kind of recycling, and they would take all this trash in, and it would separate it by weight, metals, paper, all that kind of stuff. So they would separate it out, and they'd have their junk that was contained in metal and all that. Yeah. They would sift through it. And last year, that company, and I didn't put the name of the company down, but last year that company recovered $10 million in coins in a year. And they said about $6 million of it was usable because they run it through heaters and stuff like that. Some of it was mauled, messed up, and destroyed. And I just thought, man, everybody that send me your change, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. $10 million a year and some change.
Yep.
I'll be going to McDonald's and paying for my $20 hamburger with quarters and nickels. My other hell no. Of course, we have all read the story about Jonte Porter, the basketball player from the NBA, got banned the other day for gambling. I was reading that story, and one thing really stuck out to me. He had bet around 59,000 during a 3-year period. He won about 22,000. That's what he profited from it. His last salary, or his salary over the last 3 years, equaled out to $2.4 million. So he threw away a $1 million career to win $20,000. And I'm just thinking, what in the world is these guys thinking? And I did even see one where he bet like $80,000 on himself not to perform well.
Yeah.
You know how they do the prop bets? And he ended up getting sick at night and didn't play. And the betting company got suspicious, and they froze the bet because he won over $1 million on that. They froze it, and then that's when they started looking into it to see that he was the one placing the bet, and then didn't play. Seriously, dude. And they were talking about, the different people. The last 7 of the last 8 that's been banned for gambling have been reinstated after a couple years. But they said it's unlikely that this guy will be reinstated because of the fact that he bet on himself to not hit certain goals on the betting line, and he took himself out of play so that he would win that bet. So probably a big no-no. But I'm thinking, you did all this for $21,000.
Right. Yeah. That's
really, I mean, come on, dude.
Wow.
And his brother is a really good basketball player too. Not his fault, but they were talking about they'd be talking to him, see if he had any idea what was going on, that sort of thing. I'm like, that's not his fault,
Yeah.
I mean, if my brother's placing bets, I probably don't know it,
Yeah.
I have no idea. He probably don't either. What's the Porter's name that plays really good?
Michael.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, and I was like, wow. Anyway, that was my last hell no.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any or not. You seem to rely on me to bring those up.
I mean, in the Masters, but I'm going to go with Kobe White, 42 points last night in the play-in game.
Yep.
First game I've watched Chicago all year long.
Yep.
I'm a fan.
Yep. You're back.
But yeah, we got to go to Miami. I think it's tomorrow night. But yeah, Kobe White, not having Zach LaVine. He was just kind of like a 6-man type guy, and Not having Lonzo Ball for I don't know how many years it seems like now. It seems like it's been like 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Zach LaVine, White is kind of taking on that role of
Email.
doing pretty good. And he had 42 points in the play-in game last night over Atlanta and knocked out Trae Young. Poor Trae Young.
Yep, Trae Young. We're talking about now. He's on the trade block because he can't seem to get him over the hump. So who knows? I don't watch a lot of NBA. I know Boston's really good. That's my team. I watch the playoffs, and I know everybody's picking him to win the East and make it to the finals. We'll see. They always seem to.
I mean, when Chicago wins this next play-in game and they play Boston in the first round, it might be a quick 4-0 out for Boston.
Yeah, right. yeah. Boston is really good. They're head and shoulders above most teams.
Yeah, they are.
Could be interesting now. Our buddy Joe Mazzulla coaching down there. We're rooting for him. All right, let's get a quick break in here. When we come back, we hope to have a former Mountaineer on the air with us. Rob Summers going to come on and talk about his new position and some of the things he's done over his career. It'll be fun to talk to Rob again. I haven't talked to him for a long time. Good friend of ours, so we appreciate Rob, and we'll get him on as soon as we get back. We appreciate you for listening and watching here on the New River Network. This is Courtside with Coach Crist, Greg Crist, and Dave Gorby, bringing it to you live from McGuffin's Mystery Hole out on Gatewood Road. Stay with us. We shall return.
Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network. See hard-hitting wrestling action from today's rising stars in independent wrestling. If you are a wrestling fan of any generation, let us introduce you to the hottest wrestling promotion in West Virginia. You can also join a live show at the Crossroads Mall. Retro Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network. Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network. See hard-hitting wrestling action from today's rising stars in independent wrestling. If you are a wrestling fan of any generation, let us introduce you to the hottest wrestling promotion in West Virginia. You can also join a live show at the Crossroads Mall. Retro Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network. Said Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network. See hard-hitting wrestling action from today's rising stars in independent wrestling. If you are a wrestling fan of any generation, let us introduce you to the hottest wrestling promotion in West Virginia. You can also join a live show at the Crossroads Mall. Retro Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network.
Welcome back to the Courtside with Coach Crist show. I'm Greg Crist. That's Dave Gorby. We're getting set here we apologize for the long commercial break. Had a little trouble getting our audio video thing hooked up, but we are set to go, I do believe. And of course, our guest tonight is the aforementioned Rob Summers. And I'm going to kind of read this bio in a little bit of a backward fashion. He was a 3-time Big East Academic All-Star at WVU. Got his bachelor's degree in sports management in 2007. For earning his master's in athletic coaching in 2012. He's selected as 2007 NBA Developmental League draft. Ultimately deciding to compete overseas. He played professionally in Europe, Asia, Africa, and South America. He played 125 games with 78 starting assignments at Penn State from 02 to 04 and West Virginia 05 to 07 as a Mountaineer. Summers made 33 appearances in his first season with the program, helping him reach the Sweet 16. In his final game, he was the captain. Final season, he was team captain of the team's NIT championship squad. He started 36 games that year. He shot 63.3% from the floor, a mark that stands as the second highest single season percentage in school history. Summers is now joining the Missouri Tigers as an assistant coach. His previous 2 seasons was at Miami University as associate head coach. He had a successful 3-year stint at Cleveland State. He joined the Vikings after previous 2 seasons as an assistant coach at JMU, James Madison. He also enjoyed coaching stops as the head coach of Urbana, Division II from 14 to 17, 1 season at James Madison as the director of operations and 2 years at Glenville State as associate head coach and compliance coordinator. Rob Summers is a friend of our family, and I've known him since he was at Glenville. Don't see him often because he's out and about running around all over the place coaching. And again, we're trying this audio video thing here with him. I think we're linked up. I hope he can hear. We'll get him on here and we'll see. So we want to welcome to the show Coach Rob Summers. Hello, Coach. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
I was going to tell you that.
Sorry, I'm a little technologically at a disadvantage here, so I'm trying to figure out this new computer here at Mizzou. So,
all right, is that okay? Can we hear him? Okay. Yeah, we got you good. I was going to tell you we could just put your picture up there. He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Putting a picture up there, it's good. But I follow you and keep an eye on you as you know, Sydney keeps me posted about where you're at, what you're doing, and I saw this news and was so excited for you. Before we get into that and get into Missouri, let's go back a few years and talk about what people like to hear on this show is your time at WVU. And I know it was a special time for you. It was a special time for the Mountaineers. Talk a little bit about that time at WVU and what that meant to you.
WVU is a special place. I tell people all the time, man. My time there was so key for me in my development as a young man, and just like the relationships that I made with my teammates and those guys have just gone on for so long. I mean, to this day, I still talk to all those guys. We still have our group chats. It's truly a brotherhood, and it was really different going from Penn State to West Virginia. I think that Penn State, phenomenal university, great academics, was more of a football school, and then being able to go to West Virginia and have a school that was great football, but obviously basketball started picking up, and it was fun to be around that, atmosphere where fans were really, really excited about basketball. Obviously, we won a lot of games, so that's always fun when you're winning. But I think the biggest thing for me was just the relationships that I made with my teammates, and I try to preach that same deal as a coach. You gave my resume there. I sound really, really old the way you kept talking. I was like, man, I've been a lot of places, man. This is like, I was like, yep. And then before that, and I was like, man, I try to pride myself on being a young coach, and I'm like, man, I got a lot of stops under my belt right now.
Easy, Rob. We're both the same age, man.
Well, to me, you are very young. You are a young man. That was one of my questions here. Just in a moment, we'll get to that. But yeah, I had mentioned in my questions, you're a young guy. You have had a few stops, and I don't think that's unusual for a young coach, especially one who aspires to move up in the ranks. It's that time of the year, and my brother and I were talking earlier. I talked to Sid earlier today, just about the number of people that are changing jobs, moving, applying for jobs, and that sort of thing. This is that time of year when there's a lot of turnover, and that just happened. That's just the nature of the game. Everybody wants to take that next step up, and you got to be willing to move and take some chances if you're going to do that. You first started out. This is when I got to know you at Glenville State, and I know I think back about that time fondly. I know Sid does, and he talks about you and you guys back then, doing some of the stuff you guys did. What a good time that was, and what a foundation that laid for you. Of course, Joe Mazzulla was there as well. Talk a little bit about your beginnings at Glenville, JMU, Urbana, and those different places and how they were different, and how the job was different. And then also want to mention too, and I know Joe as well, and I've seen you guys work, and I've never seen. Along with Sid and the guys he worked with, people that work as hard and as efficient and as thorough as you guys do. So talk a little bit about your beginnings there at Glenville, and then working with Joe and what you learned and as you move through the ranks.
I mean, it was kind of crazy how I got into the business. I tell people all the time, I never knew I really wanted to be a coach. I knew I wanted to be around the game. I love basketball, and getting hurt my last year overseas, and then coming back and doing a grad year with Hugs at West Virginia, and then about halfway through the season, almost in the season, I saw the Glenville State job open up, just kind of online, and I was like, "Have you ever heard of Glenville State?" I never heard of Glenville in my life.
Hey Rob, I graduated from Glenville State.
I know.
Easy.
Hey, no, hey, dude, I credit Glenville for any success I have. I mean, the two biggest places to me that in my development as a coach have been Glenville and Urbana, and they're two small colleges with the average enrollment of probably 800, I'd say. So, to be able to go in a place like Glenville. And Hugs is like, you got to go there. You got to take a job. You got to work your way up. And I've been high major. I've been a pro athlete. I've been a high major athlete my entire life. So to go to Division II, didn't know anything about it. And I, Coach, Stephen Dye gave me an opportunity to come down there and to be assistant coach. It was great. And to be, after being down there for, I want to say, a first summer, talking to Joe. And Joe was, obviously great player at WVU. Great basketball mind, was contemplating playing pro, going overseas. And he's like, what, I want to start my coaching. He's like, I want to be a coach. I want to start it now. He's like, what would you think about me coming down there? And I said, I'm not the boss, but if you want to, talk to Coach Dye, I think he would love to have you. So being able to have my first stop with one of my good friends is pretty unique. I don't think a lot of people get to, work somewhere with one of their former teammates, one of their good friends is their first coaching job. And we sat back to back in that 6x6 office there at the Lilly Gymnasium, and I distinctly remember Joe after our first season going, man, you love the recruiting and all that stuff. He's like, man, I just love the basketball part, man. I love basketball. I love watching the game. I love it. He's like, you like recruiting. You like that stuff. He's like, man, I'm tired of recruiting, man. I'm tired of taking classes, man. I just want to do the basketball. I'm going to the NBA. And I was like, and me just thinking like, all right, man, okay, cool, man. All right, didn't put two and two together. So I always laugh with them. I actually went up there and hung out with them during training camp and all that stuff. I was like, man, it's just so wild. You said it, and words are powerful, man. Because now you're the head coach of Boston Celtics. But
that's right.
Glenville was great to both of us. Obviously, we both left Glenville after our second year there. Joe went out to Fairmont. I went to James Madison as the director of operations, wanted to get some Division I experience, just to kind of climb my way up. I always wanted to be a head coach of the Division I rank. So, I thought that was the best path for me. I got some recruiting experience now. I need to get some Division I experience, and left there to take over a job at Urbana, a team that hadn't won a game in over a year and a half. So. Yeah. Talking to Hugs about it, he's like, well, can you win there? I'm a cocky, 28, 29-year-old. So I'm like, yeah, I can win anywhere, and I understand, you got to have scholarships, you got to have resources. I didn't know the whole equivalency and all that stuff. I thought everybody got 10 full rides. I said, well, everybody gets the same amount of scholarships. And I learned quickly that not everybody gets the same amount of scholarships at that level. But was able to go there and learn a lot, learned a lot as a young head coach, learn a lot of what not to do, learn somewhat of what to do. Definitely had to call and apologize to, Coach Dye and Coach Brady at JMU, because when you sit over in that next seat, it's different. It's different. You got all the answers as an assistant. You really do. But when all that pressure's on you, it's not as easy as, well, just kick him off the team. You're like, well, why didn't you get off the team and just run this play and do this and do that? And it really isn't. So a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of late nights waking up, the middle of the night, sweating cold sweats, at the time, with my wife. And then was there for 3 years, left there to go to JMU and as assistant, just to get going back for a different head coach, but, some familiar university, being able to be a Division I assistant, was again for my path. I think my whole path, and hopefully will eventually one day lead to being a Division I head coach. And had a couple more bounce around stops. Got joined up with Coach Gates at Cleveland State, had some success there, going to the NCAA tournament, and then spent, like you said, the last 2 years at Miami as associate head coach. So staying in my home state of Ohio. And then obviously being able to become a Power 5 assistant coach here in Mizzou with somebody I'm familiar with Coach Gates. Obviously, again, another blessing for me to have that, kind of as that final stop. I truly believe, I'll be a head coach at some point. I don't look to bounce around anymore, to be honest. I think this is my wife will kill me if we move again after this one. If it's not for one where I'm a head coach. So looking forward to winning here. Being a top 25 program and being able to carve my own way as a head coach at some point.
Well, I think with the progression you're making, I don't think there's any question at some point you're going to get that break and be a head coach. I think that's going to happen for sure. And you mentioned Coach Dye. Just to let you know, I interviewed Coach Dye last week over at they had a Fellowship Christian Athletes event over in Beckley, and we were covering it. And Coach Dye was there, so we got him on the air and talked to him just a little bit. He's back at Glenville now, I think, as director of finances or something.
Fundraising.
Fundraising for the program. Yep. Looking back, to get back into coaching, and I'm sure he will as well because he does a good job. You mentioned your wife, and you are a young guy, no matter what Gorby says. You are a young guy. You have a beautiful young family, by the way. I don't want you to mention that. And I was going to ask you, you have moved several times, which is, that's part of the profession. Anybody that knows anything about it knows that happens a lot. With that young family, how tough is it, to walk in and say, honey, guess what? we're moving from Ohio to Missouri next week.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's going to be tough.
Oh, I need lights. Hold on a second. These lights in his office are like melted. So I got to keep moving around. It's fancy.
Oh, they go off.
Yeah, fancy around in his office.
New position, man. Better stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh.
When you was at Glenville, you had to light a torch.
Hey, there you had to wind it up. You had to wind something up.
Well, if we see you waving your hands like this here in a minute, we'll understand.
Yeah. If you go crazy,
bringing in a helicopter there,
No, but great question. I think it's I talk to a lot of young coaches now, just in this profession, and I'm like, look, man, if you got a family, it's just going to be tough. You got to make sure you have the right woman, by your side, that understands what this business is about. Because like you said, you could be, and we were, we were fine in Miami. I enjoyed Coach Steele was phenomenal. I was in such a great spot. When Coach Gates called me and offered me a position, I told him, I said, look, I got a lot of faith in you because I'm really, really in a good spot right now. And I do not want to move. I've turned down 3 jobs already, so for me to take this, like, you got to know that I'm with you. I'm in it for, to help you win. And I think it's a good decision for both of us. But it's just tough. I got 3 little ones, like you said. I got an 8-year-old son, a 5-year-old daughter, and a 2-year-old daughter. So my 8-year-old gets a little bit more than the 5-year-old. The 5-year-old is kind of like excited for a new house and to be able to get a new room. The 8-year-old is kind of like, all right, well, what's going on? Like, why are we moving to Missouri? Like, well, do you not like Coach Steele anymore? Like, I'm like, it's not how this. So I try to talk to my son like a grown up as much as possible. Like, hey, it's for Dad's career and his development. It's the best move for us. And he's a little sad about leaving his friends, which is getting tough. So that's why I kind of told my wife, I was like, the next time we move, I want to be somewhere for at least until my littlest just grows up. I just want them to grow up in the same house at a certain point in time where they're not just feeling like they're military kids in a different city every year or so. So my wife's been phenomenal. She works remotely, which like helps us as a family. So it's not like she has to like talk to her job other than telling them it's going to be a different taxes coming out of her check. But she's truly like she's at home with the kids out now. So I'm out of Missouri now. My son doesn't get done with school until May 25th. So, I'm out here on my own, getting the lay of the land while she's got the 3 little ones back home in Ohio, holding it down. So, she's definitely a superstar. I don't know what I did to deserve her. I thank God that he blessed me with her because I definitely would be a little lost without her. I told her if anything ever happens to her, like, I'm going to have her parents move in or something because I had no clue how to run that household without her.
A couple things. First of all, I can't believe your oldest is 8. That blows my mind because I remember when he was born. I'm definitely getting old. And but you mentioned your wife. I'm just curious, and I always ask this because I was a coach, and I coached for 30 years. Not on that level. I was a high school coach, 14 as a head coach. And my wife, we always laugh because my last year of coaching was Sid's senior year. And we always make fun of her because I said, she'll say something about a game. And back then she said something to me when Sid was a sophomore, I think, about his playing time. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, you're the coach's wife, okay? And secondly, you sit in the stands, you don't even know what's going on in the game. And the only time you clap or applaud is when everybody else, all of our other fans clap and applaud. You don't know what's going on. You're just clapping because they're clapping. I said, so because of that, you don't get an opinion in this deal. So she knows nothing about sports. She's learned a little over the years, but not much. I'm just curious, and I always like to ask coaches, is your wife into it? Does she understand the game pretty well? And do you discuss it and talk to her about stuff?
Man, you hit the nail on the head because she says it all the time. She's like, look, I don't really care much about basketball outside of the fact that you coach it. Now she's getting better as the years go on of me coaching and being like, well, why is that? Why can they review that play right now? Like, why is that? Why is that not a trial? That's not a foul. So she's like picking up more on this stuff now. Like, she'll watch some games. Like when I have some games on with I'm doing some scouting stuff or just watching, somebody I'm rooting for, whether watch a Darius Nichols Radford team play. She'll ask questions. So, but she doesn't care anything about the game. I mean, as far as like, if I wasn't a basketball coach, she wouldn't be engaged in it. But she's obviously knows that's my profession. So she continually tries to like pick up on stuff. Because I think some other coaches' wives are like super into it and they know everything. Mm-hmm. They know all the players and their stats and like if they're a shooter, if they're not. And she's like kind of like, well, why do you care why do you care if Anderson or Rambo, a big kid we had last year, why do you care if Anderson shoots threes? And I'm like, he's 340 pounds. He should be out of the basket. Right. Like, well, he's working hard. Let him shoot better too. So
that's funny. A guy I was an assistant coach for, Coach Flournoy. Yeah. His wife probably knew as much about it as we did. So, yeah, you see that. But I'm always curious to ask other coaches what their wives, because I know my wife has no interest in it whatsoever. And I know during the Final Four, we were watching a UConn game, or I was, and I told her, I said, come here a minute. I said, this team has scored, at that time, it was like 27 straight points, but this other team's not scored anything. She's like, why not? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess they're playing good defense on them. She's like, well, what's that mean? And I'm like, well, probably means the other team's going to win. You know, the team that scored all the points going to win. So she has no interest in it whatsoever. So you are a young guy still, and I know that, again, you've been coaching for quite some time. What advice would you give somebody, younger folks who are interested in getting in a coaching profession? What kind of advice, things that you've learned over the years, would you pass on to a younger person?
And the biggest thing I think is trust your own path and kind of just don't get discouraged. I think I got a postcard in my drawer I've had since Glenville. I think Darius Nichols sent it to me my second year at Glenville. He was in Northern Kentucky, and I was at Glenville. I remember I was just like, man, it's just tough. I'm at Division II. We don't have a lot of resources here. I was like, man, I want to be a head coach. I want to climb my way up this thing, but I feel like I'm just not making any headway with this. I'm not getting any call back to any job offers, job opportunities. And he just sent me a postcard that said, you're going to make it. Don't worry, you're going to make it. It's this is don't worry, you're going to make it, Darius. And if you know Darius Nichols, he's not the type of be sentimental or say anything. Right. It's kind of that type of deal.
What are you talking about?
He's dry. That's why we were so good, because he's real dry and sarcastic and stuff like that. But, for him to send that, I was like, man. And then after that, obviously I was able to get an opportunity to go to JMU and be the ops guy. And I would never thought that guy sitting in that office at Glenville that I'd be an SEC assistant at a Power 5 school doing what I'm doing now, and not from anything of what I've done. Hard work is great, but it's all because God's blessed me. That he's definitely, there's a lot of smart, great coaches out there that are high school coaches or Division III coaches, or I think sometimes people are like, man, I know so much about the game. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes you're doing what you're doing where we're supposed to be at. You're supposed to be there for now. Wherever you're at, that's your path. You're supposed to be there impacting somebody. You're supposed to it's a butterfly effect. You're supposed to be exactly in that spot right now. Right. And when you're supposed to move and where you're supposed to be at, I think God's going to open that path up for you. So I tell all the young guys when I meet them, because they're always like, well, how did you get there? And how did you do this? And how did you do that? And I said, you know what? I just was a good person. I worked hard where I was at. And really try to focus less about moving up and just more about just doing a good job and just being good to people, and people notice it. Every job opportunity I've gotten, I've done a good job networking, I'd say, but I get more opportunities by people just asking how I am as a person. People say, well, I don't know if he's a good basketball coach, man, but he's a really good guy. So I think that's I've gotten 2 job opportunities that I've taken, and then most of the ones where I get offered a job are just man, everyone, no one says anything bad about you. They don't know if you can coach basketball. They don't know how you are on the court. They don't need that stuff. But as far as a person, and people want good people around them, and the people that don't really care about that, you don't want to be around. You don't want to be around somebody who just wants you because you can get them a bunch of get them a player that maybe you're connected to, or you're connected to an AU team. And I think a lot of people feel like, young coaches especially, feel like they have to have this end of this willing and dealing and all that. And I'm like, yeah, you can do it if that's who you are. But if it's not who you are, man, just be yourself, be a good person, man, work hard. And it's going to work out for you, however it's supposed to. Like I said, it may not be what your grand scheme might be like, hey, man, I want to be the head coach at WVU next year. But is that what God has called for you? So I just really trust that point of it. And it took me a while, I think, a couple of years when I first got into it to really hunker down on that. And maybe I backslid a couple times in my career where I just got frustrated. But I think the biggest thing is just staying true to that, man. Just staying true to trusting my path. Trust your path. Whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. Can't nobody take that away from you.
Yep. I think that's good advice, too, because, as well as I do, there's people out there, plenty of people out there that know basketball. They know the game. They could, devise defenses, offenses, whatever the case may be. There's hundreds of thousands of people out there that can do that very well. But there's a lot of other things that go into it other than just that. Like you said, what kind of person are you? How dedicated are you? I'm so thankful that my son got the chance to work with you and Joe, especially at Fairmont, where he got more of a role because he was a player, I think, when you were there. But when he went with Joe to Fairmont, he actually got to coach some. And I think he learned the meaning of hard work and preparation, and I think he's taken that on. He's become a very good coach because of it, but he also has good personal skills and can relate to people. And I mean, you know, the personality he is, so all that plays into it.
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. When Sid was at Glenmore with us, he may have had a jersey on, but he literally sat next to me and Joe the whole practice. We were like, dude, go over the team. He's just over there breaking down what's going on in the play, what's going on in the drill. And we're like, Sid, get in the drill, like, or just take your jersey off and just be on the sideline with us. But you got to, like, choose one or the other. So it was good for him to go with Joe DeVermont because I'm like, Sid, you are like Coach Sid. You're still your Coach Sid with the jersey on, you know, as a freshman. But he's awesome.
I've told a lot of people when I coached him in high school, I wish I had $1 for every time we would get in the huddle and I'd have to say, Sid, let me coach, you play. Just be quiet for a minute. I know you know what you're talking about. And he did, you know, the whole time he played. I was thankful to have him because he knew where everybody was supposed to be going. He knew what they were supposed to be doing. He knew all that stuff, you know. So every time we get in the huddle, he starts telling everybody what I'm like, Sid, I got this. Trust me. Been doing this a long time. I can handle it, you know. But, yeah, I think he was a coach from the get-go. Of course, he went to a lot of practices and all that when he was, 5, 6 years old, a lot of games. So I think it just bubbled up in him. So, yeah, he's pretty good at it. I was going to ask you, too, we were talking about the advice. I heard this one time. A guy said, had asked an older coach for some advice. He got a head coaching job. I can tell you this now. He got a head coaching job, and he said, what advice would you give me? And he said, you need to sit down and write 3 letters. He said, okay, what do you mean? He said, well, as long as things are going good, just keep them in your desk drawer. He said, you start losing games and people start howling a little bit. He said, you open that first letter. And he said, on that first letter he put on there, it said, blame the assistant coaches. He said, okay. So he comes out, starts giving the assistant coach, they're not doing hard enough work or not preparing well enough. And it's all their fault. He said, if things start going good, you just leave them letters alone. When it starts going bad again, you pull out the second letter, and it says, blame the administration. He said, you come out there, just not giving me enough support, or not supporting me financially any other way, so I don't have the support administration. It's their fault. And he said, start winning again, everything will be good. Leave another letter in there. He said, they start going bad again. No, you pull out that third letter. And he said, what's that third letter say? It says, write 3 letters because you got to give it to the next guy because you're out. So anyway, that's a good advice right there. Write them letters. You guys are now. This is Division I, and of course this affects all levels. But you're in the middle of the transfer portal in the NIL game, and I know you obviously dealt with that at Miami as well. And we've had a lot of discussions on this. We do a show on Wednesday nights from up in Morgantown with Daryl Prue and some folks, and we talk a lot about the NIL and the transfer portal affecting WU and that sort of thing. But I think we all know the impact of it, what's happening and what's going on. My question is to people in the industry, where do you see all this going? I mean, there's got to be a point where something breaks. Something has to happen to get this fixed because right now it's pretty much a free-for-all. And, the NCAA just come out with the eligibility rule where they can be eligible instantly. I mean, it's the wild, wild west right now. Where do you see this thing heading with this NIL and the transfer portal and all that?
I just think it's not sustainable, like you said. I'm all for paying student athletes because I was a student athlete and I took a loan out. I was a full ride, Big East, West Virginia, we're top 25, and I still had to take a loan out to pay for gas and insurance, my cell phone bill, and all those things like that when I was in school. I actually just paid my loan out. I kept deferring my loan until probably 2 years ago, so I think I just finished paying off my last of my loans. But for me to take a loan out, I'm like, man, that's wild. I'm bringing so much money to the institution, and I can't even really take care of my normal bills. Right. I know obviously the NIL is what it is now, where these kids are living better, making more. Some of these kids are making more money than me, a lot of guys on staff. So, and again, I get it. Some of these guys are worth it. They're definitely worth it. But from a donor standpoint, I don't know how sustainable it is because of the fact that they want wins. They're the collectives and they're here to win games. So the NIL is for these kids to win. I know that people say it's not pay for play, but let's be honest. These guys are good basketball players and they're getting opportunities through different avenues. So I think that it's going to get to a point where, obviously coaches are on a shorter lifespan right now with new institutions because they're expected to turn rosters over quicker and quicker because they're not you don't bring a freshman class in. They give you that 4 years until they're seniors, and then year after year 4, it's like, all right, was he sign a 5-year deal? Do we give him the 5th year? It's like, you might sign a 5-year deal, and year 3 they're like, well, don't think this is going the right way. Right. So that's the scary part of what we're in right now. I think it's, obviously collectives are paying, so much money for these teams, and these teams aren't producing at a high level. They're like, well, it used to be where the owners would put money toward, a new arena, new facilities, and they could see that. That was, they could hold that with their hands and touch that. And right now they can't. So that's the tough part about it. And obviously with APR still being a thing, student guys, they have to graduate, and we have like multiple institution transfers and credit hours and all that stuff. I think it's going to get to the point where these student athletes are going to start suing somebody because of the fact that they're like, well, no one's protecting them from themselves at this point. It used to be we were protecting them and making sure they had to graduate, like with all the requirements and everything. And like, yeah, you got progress to a degree, but institution-wise, the more they jump around, the more credits they lose each stop they go to. So I think it's we got to help. It's got to be fixed. I don't think it's where it should be yet right now. I think they opened the floodgates with all of the stuff. So, these guys are taking advantage of what it is. But the ones that are doing a good job are the ones that have their, have a sound group behind them. But there's so many people with hands in people's pockets now, as far as all these agents and everything now, that it's just becoming different. It's becoming different, which is why a lot of, I think, of the older coaches and college athletes are getting out of it, because it's different than what they ever thought they were getting into. It's different than what I thought I was getting into. I mean, when I first started, it was different. So I think it's it'll get, hopefully I think it'll get fixed here soon. But
the big thing that concerns me about it is if we wait on the NCAA to fix it, then we're in trouble. I think the collectively the coaches, the universities are going to have to come up with some solutions. And like you said, I'm grateful that these kids are getting paid. They should be getting paid. There's too much money out there. They've grown it, so much. The NCAA basketball is huge. The NCAA makes billions of dollars off of them. The universities make millions off of their backs. And I think that the players, they're the ones out there, putting the work in, the players, coaches, and, risking health and everything else and time and all that, that they do deserve to get paid. I just think that, like right now, I don't think it is sustainable. Like you said, I think we're seeing that it's not always, the highest paid team that makes the big runs. And like Kentucky, you look at them and they bring all these fantastic players in at one time, and they get bumped in the first round by Oakland. So I'm sure people who, put that money up are not happy with that. And I don't think that money is sustainable. Like I said, year after year after year, these people are finally going to be like, wait a minute, enough of this is enough. And also, I have suggested and said that I think that they need to start looking at some contractual things. Maybe, basically it's like Rick Pitino said the other day, these guys are professionals now. They're getting paid to play, plain and simple. And I think there needs to be maybe look at some contracts. We'll give you, $150,000. But, right now you're going to get, $5,000 a year to pay for your gas and your insurance and your cell phone, blah, blah, blah. You'll get the bulk of it after you complete 3 years with us. Maybe go that route some way. I don't know if that's possible, but, there's got to be something in there where there's a commitment from the player as well, I think. And, because these guys are just jumping around from year to year to year at different places. And, I don't know what kind of money they're getting. I don't know all that, but I know it's not good for the game. And I know as far as the fans go, a lot of people aren't real happy with the way it goes. And I think people are going to turn sour quicker than not. So hopefully it does get fixed. You are now at University of Missouri, big time program, big time basketball program. Talk a little bit about what this move means to you, what you see getting out of it, and what your future holds for you there in Missouri. I know you've got to be thrilled to be there. I was thrilled when I saw the news, and I know you got to be tickled to death to be there. So talk a little bit about Missouri and what it means to you and what you look forward to.
like you said, it's a big time university. It's SEC. It's one of the top conferences of the country. So to get an opportunity to come here, again, I thank God that I get this. I get to able to come here and be an assistant coach and help to win games and run an offense and be with some good guys, and I think be at a place that's they produce pros. So to be here it's exciting. Obviously, Mizzou's coming off the year they came off of. They didn't have a great season last year. In the SEC, I think year one was really, really good for Coach Gates and the staff, and then year two, some injuries, really hurt them, and some crazy stuff as far as guys not being able to play and having to sit out game, ear infections. It's like random injuries that like kind of just hurt a team. Really didn't help them. But I tell people all the time, I've been doing a lot of coaching caravans and traveling around the state and talking with different alumni bases and fan bases. And I said, look, I'm probably going to look like a genius here soon because I don't envision us losing every game in the SEC next year. So they're like, man, this Rob Summers guy really knows what he's doing, man. So it's good for me to come in at this point in time. I think I'd be I'm probably one of the more juice people around here. I think the whole staff's they're pretty lighthearted with stuff, but I'm probably the most juiced because I'm like, man, I didn't have to go through what they went through last year, and I'm just excited to get to work. And I think that I think we can have a really good year. We have a really good class coming in. We have one of the top four, I think now, recruiting classes with some freshmen. And then we've had a couple of portal kids here. We'll probably get another portal kid here in the next couple of coming days, and then we'll be set. And I think we'll have a good mix of like talented young guys and really, really talented portal kids. And being being a conference like the SEC and be able to go against some of the top schools in the country and being one of the top schools in the country just helps propel my brand a little bit. I tell you all the time, I say, man, I still know the same amount I knew it before. I just have the SEC tag on me now, so it's it kind of goes in. It helps your resume out a lot. Obviously when they're like, oh man, he's at Mizzou now, and it's like, all right, before it was like, okay, he's Miami Ohio, mid-major guy, and to take that jump to the high major level, obviously is more pressure, but it's exciting. I think that I know Coach Gates, I know the staff, he knows me, he knows what he can expect out of me. Offensively, for him to make me offensive coordinator here, to be able to run the offense that, I think that he enjoys to coach, it's going to help me with my development, and I'll be able to see if offensively it works in the SEC. I always said, it worked in the Horizon League, it worked in the MAC. I was like, let's see if it works in the SEC, man. And outside of that, I might have to go to the NBA after that and see if it works there. But,
there you go. Maybe call your buddy Joe up and see what's up.
Yeah. Joe's got his offense down pat, man. That guy's a genius. I said, somebody loves basketball, man. I tell you all the time, I say, man, Joe Mazzulla loves basketball. Yeah. You guys don't understand. The guy's a mad scientist. He's a genius with it. Yes. So all those interviews and everything, people talk about Joe Mazzulla, and he's like, first take and all that. I'm like, that's Joe, man. Like interviews, like he is who he is. He is who he is. He knows basketball.
Well, I know, and not to harp on Joe, but I was me and him sitting talking one night, and I coached basketball for 30 years, and I'm sitting there listening to him talk. I don't even know what they were talking about. I know they were talking about basketball, but it wasn't making any sense to me. I didn't have a clue what they were talking about. It was way up here above me. That's for daggone sure. Yeah. Before you go, I know we've already gone way over time here with you. I promised we was going to keep you 15, 20 minutes, but we've already been going about a half hour. So
I love talking with you, Coach.
Good deal. Good deal.
I'm all
we
good.
Have a little segment that we do. I know you're obviously an avid watcher of my show and David's show. We've been doing it for about 3 years now, so I know you've watched it a ton of times. And we do, and you don't have to sit there and say, yeah, I do, because I know better. But but anyway, we have a segment on here we call it Shoot to Three. Of course, from my coaching background, you throw a little basketball in here with it. And on this Shoot to Three segment, what we do is we ask you 3 random questions about anything and nothing really at all. Nothing probably you've ever even thought about. So we hope we catch you off guard a little bit. But I always tell everybody Dave is about 6'4", goes about 280. And if people don't answer the questions in a timely fashion and play the game, we send Dave down to crack some knees. So
Dave's a scary dude. No, Dave's a scary dude, man. I say Dave,
I've been beside of you. You know how little I am compared to you.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen you in real life. When you see him like, I see him in real life like, he'll pack some need. It's like people meet me the first time. Like, you're 7 foot for real. Like, man, on TV and stuff, you don't look that tall. Like, Dave, I'm letting you know right now, he is an enforcer in real life. So don't
That's right.
do that.
But I don't want to make you nervous. We really don't do that. We don't have any rules. I just made that up on the fly. So
gas is too much to come out to Missouri anyway.
Right.
So
too far away.
Yeah, I was
you're
gonna
safe.
say, I was like, man, you gotta go 70. It's a long. You got an hour drive.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
safe.
got time to get ahead of you.
All right. If you are ready, we'll go with question 1. You ready?
Hold on.
Oh, you got to flip the lights back on.
there we go.
There we go. Perfect.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. If they were going to make, whoever they is, was going to make a movie about the life of Rob Summers, who's going to play the lead role?
Man, right now probably David Goggins. I think David Goggins would be who I am at this point in time. Now before I don't know, I was a little big, but the more I've been running since COVID happened and I cut all that weight, all the players at Mizzou call me Goggins now, so it's kind of funny.
There you go. Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
If you had to have a walk-up song your first game at Mizzou and nobody knows who you are in the building and you're all alone, they're going to introduce you first. We're going to say, here's our assistant coach, and you have to come out to a walk-up song that's going to really describe to the people there in the arena who you are, what you're all about. What's that song going to be? And then we need to hear a line or two of it.
Probably, I'd say Will Smith, "Summertime."
There we go.
Good.
God, that's
All right,
that's our time right there.
There you go.
Not so long ago.
There you go. That's right. We can relate to
Yeah,
that
I
one.
know.
Listen,
It's a good one. Summertime.
Mhm.
Summertime.
there we go, man. Hey,
Stick back handle.
there we
Terrible
go.
singing voice.
If the
Terrible
coaching
singing.
thing don't work out, I think you got your gig maybe singing a little bit. All right, last one. It's been great so far. Last one. You got to pick the way you die. You can't choose old age. How you going to pick the way that you go out?
Not old age. Man, I don't know. Probably parachuting. Parachuting. If I hit the ground,
Man,
I just
risk
let it
taker
be
here
quick.
right now.
I just let it go out and just boom, and then I'm in heaven, and it's
Be done, huh?
quick, and it's a splat, and then I'm at the pearly white gates. And like, I don't want to have any sitting around.
I'll tell you what, that's the first time we've had that one. That's a pretty good answer there. We've had some strange answers, but that's a good one there. Yeah, just jump and be done with it. That'd be a good idea. That's awesome. Rob, listen, man, we appreciate you for taking the time. I know you're really busy. I'm sure your head's spinning right now. You got so much going on. We appreciate you taking the time to come on here and talk to us. Always enjoy seeing you and talking to you. I don't think I've seen you since maybe I'm thinking Urbana. I think I went and watched you guys play somewhere, and I got to talk to you briefly at the Urbana. So it's been quite a while since I've got to talk to you. It's great seeing you, and we are thrilled, tickled to death for you and your family. And we know it's going to be a good run for you, and you're going to be successful. And we look forward to watching you come this year on the TV screen. We'll be checking you out, man.
Oh no, I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I know it is definitely a little busy out here, but I always got time for you and Dave. I don't want Dave to come out here and crack any kneecaps.
Sure,
So I had to make sure I got my video and stuff hooked up. But man, it's always good to fellowship with good people. Like I said, man, I like talking with good people. And anytime you want you back on here, man, I can come on and do some more Will Smith renditions or something.
Oh man,
There we go.
that sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. Thank you, Rob, so much, buddy. Good luck to
All right,
you.
Thanks,
All right.
fellas.
We'll see, man.
All right. Rob Summers, new assistant coach at the University of Mizzou. Pretty cool, Dave. I'll tell you what, Dave, I guess when you live as long as I do, you end up knowing people in places. And these guys that I've known for a long time, I mean, I've known Rob since, I guess, 2012, 2013. And they keep getting these good jobs. I mean, friends with the head coach of the Boston Celtics, friends with the assistant coach at Missouri, friends with assistant coach at University of Pikeville, friends with the head coach, assistant coach, and another assistant coach at the Youngstown University now. So, get to know these people. It's awesome.
There you go.
Awesome guy. Rob is a good guy. He's always been a great guy, very friendly. I remember just meeting him, and he was as friendly as he could be to me and always treated me very well. Always enjoyed talking to him, and he's going to be a head coach one day, and he'll be a good one because he's got the personality and the knowledge and the work ethic. So that's awesome to get to talk to him. Of course, we have gone a little bit overtime. I hope we do have enough time, though. We have a guest caller that's called in on hold. So what we're going to do is take a 10-second break. We'll get our guest caller mic'd up here, and we'll come back and have him. And then you want to mention your hell yeah before we go. You got one hell yeah to mention before we go.
Oh, you want me to mention that? You want me to do it right now?
We'll do it.
Okay.
We'll do it toward the end.
What about we gotta make another phone call.
Yeah, if Darren will allow us to make one more call, we may do that as well. You know he's not going to answer, so we'll try that. So all right, give us a break here, about 10 seconds. We shall return after these messages. You're watching Courtside with Coach Crist show on the New River Network. Stay with us.
Retro Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network. See hard-hitting wrestling action from today's rising stars in independent wrestling. If you are a wrestling fan of any generation, let us introduce you to the hottest wrestling promotion in West Virginia. You can also join a live show at the Crossroads Mall. Retro Reset Wrestling is coming to you every Thursday at 9 p.m. on the New River Network.
Welcome back to the Courtside with Coach Crist show. We appreciate you staying in there with us. Running a little overtime. We have we did have an audience caller called in. We put them on hold till we got done with Coach Summers, and we are now back with that audience caller. We've mic'd him up and got him ready to go. And our audience caller tonight, Mr. Jackson Craxton, who is a player agent for the WNBA. Jackson, welcome to the show.
Hey, good evening, Coach. This is Jackson Craxton, as you said. I'm a first-time caller, and I'm a fast-time talker.
Well, Jackson, you just keep on talking, and I'll get your sound up here for you. You talk so fast, I didn't have a chance to bring it up, but I will. I'll do that right now. So, drum roll and cymbals.
All right, Coach. Well, I always call in late in the show. That way, I only got a few minutes. I'll be talking fast like I normally do. But hey, we're always working. We're always trying to make a buck. You know what I'm saying? And this latest WNBA draft. You know, the league, We Never Ball Association, we are on fire. So anyway, Coach. Yes, sir, Coach. I just recently signed that Charlene Clark over there from that Smooth Smoky team. And, she's a 7th-year 8th grader, so that makes her age eligible for the We Never Basketball Association. And, so I told Charlene, I said, listen here, Charlene, we'll get along about just fine with those possible jalapenos, but you know what, Charlene? Show me the money. Anyway, after that, Coach, I was fortunate enough to sign that Angelica Reese from down there in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And you know what she said to me? Cash. Okay, Coach. And then I said to her, okay, you get some cash, and then I gets me a Lamborghini and a muggy copter, a slick Benz, and a red lobster. Okay, I'm talking about cash. So anyway, and then you know what, Coach? Then I signed that Marquita Davis. She got a little bikini and a Harley chopper, then a Benzie weenie and a big old King Whopper.
Whoa. Okay. Cash.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and then Coach, I signed that there, in your doo-doo poo. She completes me. And last but not least, Coach, I did get a sign in on that Leela Olokan. She had me at hello, Coach.
Like that, did you, Jackson? Hey, what's the going contract for the WNBA right now, price wise?
Well, Coach, it's hard to say. I get all kinds of offers from these ladies from from bikini waxing sponsorships clear down to, like I said, some glizzies there at Hometown Hot Dogs in Morgantown. But, I say good, 6-figure salary. Nothing like the men's, but, once I take my 58.3%, it gives them a little bit of cash to make a living, So, but hey, but I do want to tell you, Coach, I know how you feel about women's sports, and I tell you, the world is changing, Coach, and so should you. So look, Coach, I believe what has me a good-looking phenomenon agent is work. So what's made me a phenomenon is work, because the only place success come before work is in the dictionary.
Well, Jack, I'm sitting here looking at your picture, and I'm thinking, you know what? I wouldn't mind having that guy as my agent. You look excitable and ready to go.
I got it, Coach. I got it going on. See, I'm no genius. I'm no Norman Einstein, but I know that much, and I know that I do love me some me. Because when you're rich, you don't write checks, Coach.
That's right.
Because I talk about cash. There, Coach. You know what? I feel like I'm the next agent, the best agent in the world, Coach, but you won't ever get me to say it. And I just hope, and you didn't catch that one, but I'm just hope that the WNBA can still use my skills, bringing the talent, and move from this year's run and shoot game that they've been doing. See, all the WNBA thing they do, that run and shoot game.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope my talent that I'm bringing in to the league will let them change next year's strategy from run and shoot to run and score.
Yeah, that'd be a good strategy. That sounds like something I'd say.
Clients, huh?
I said that sounds like something I'd say.
Yeah, but Coach, my clients have what it takes to rocket the league to new heights, because the game is 90% mental and the other half is physical. And it's going to be a good year, Coach. My clients are great outside shooters. I just hope we can convince the league to move their games out there.
Yeah, here you go. Well, Jackson,
right.
Listen, I hate to cut you short. We are out of time. I know you like to talk, and you got plenty of energy, and we'll probably have to get you back on another time. So I'll have to let you go, disconnect here, and hopefully we'll talk to you in the next few weeks.
It would be the first time I was let go, Coach. I was going to tell you about hiring Muggy McLeod as my new client, and then I'm on to get the director of player execution. We call him the dope, Posey. So right. So we pick Posey up. I hope he got some stamps.
All right, Jackson. We'll talk to you in a few weeks. We'll wait till the NBA, all the contracts get settled. We'll call you back and see how it all went.
Yes, sir, Coach. You complete me.
All right, Jackson. Jackson Craxton, WNBA player agent. All right, we are way out of time here. Darren got to get some wrestling on coming up next, so we're going to jump off here real quick. We didn't get a chance to call 3DP, but that don't mean we won't next week. We'll do that right at the beginning next week. That way we don't have to.
That'll be great.
Yep. So we appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. We hope to you enjoyed the show as much as we did talking to Rob Summers. We appreciate him, Jackson Craxton, and, of course, Muggy McLeod. For Dave Gorby, I'm Greg Crist. We wish you a good night, everybody. Take care.